watching the live broadcast button, waiting for it to go live, but it looks like I went live on some platforms before I did on other platforms. But in any case, welcome back to my show. I'm Shanta Prince, and I help women coaches to build their personal brands, create those high ticket offers, and then I teach them how to get paying clients. So today I want to talk about leads. I'm super excited to talk about this topic because every single business needs leads. So whether you're in coaching, mentorship, whether you have a service provider type of business, even if you have a brick and mortar business, every single business needs the same thing. We all need leads, right? And so one of the biggest struggles that I'm seeing people struggle with is finding leads. And even one of the things that I was just talking about with someone today is how when I first started my business, the way that I used to get leads is I would host webinars because obviously I love to teach, I love to talk, I love to teach you what I know. And so webinars really helped me to shine because my gifts were able to really be brought forth when I'm in a webinar or when I'm teaching. And so people would see that and they would be like, oh my gosh, I want to work with Shanta. I love how she teaches. I love her style. Well, not everybody is, that great at doing webinars, and some people don't even like doing webinars, right? So that was how I would get people, how I would get clients. I would host webinars and then I would invite people to join me in my program. And so, but even with that, anything that you do, even if you're hosting webinars, or if you're doing challenges and things like that for your conversion events, you still need leads. You need people in those events in order to get new clients. And so when it comes to finding leads, the struggle comes in a couple of things. Number one is not knowing how to find people who would be interested in your product. Now, we've all seen the people who spam everybody. They send messages, cold messages when they don't even know you. As soon as you accept that friend request, they spam you with a sales message. That is the wrong way to look for leads. That is the wrong way to connect with people. So the first thing is, okay, where do I even find people who will be interested in my product, right? So I don't have to spam people and aggravate people by sending them messages that they're not interested in. So where do you find the people? Okay. The other struggle is, okay, when I find them, what do I say to them? How do I invite them to my events, or do I invite them to my events, or do I offer them my program? Do I? So there's so many different questions that come around. What do I say to people what do I say to the lead once I find them? What do I say to that ideal client once I connect with them? And so everybody has a different way. For example, I was speaking to someone via Messenger. And I asked her, I said, well, what do you do for your clients? She sent me a link back and said, you can find all the information right here at this website. And so for me, I was like, well, that's great. But if I was a potential client for that person, that would be a turnoff for me. If I'm asking you, what do you help your clients with? And you're sending me to a link, it's like, no, thanks. So, and then I've had people where, I'm messaging them and they're very open with about like what they're doing and the work that they're so passionate about. And so there are different ways to engage with people in the messages. But you need a strategy for how you're talking to your potential clients, how you're engaging with your leads. And so we'll talk about that in just a minute. But so the struggle is finding the leads, finding people who will be interested in your products or your services. And then, okay, now that I found them, what do I do next? What do I say? How do I articulate the value that I bring to the table? How do I even find out, okay, this is an ideal client, this is a lead, but how do I find out if they're right for my program? So there's so many different things that go into actually finding the lead. And I talk about this more inside of the group and as I do these live sessions every Thursday at 12. That's my shameless plug. So there's strategy in how you engage and how you find out if the person is actually going to be a great fit for your program. There's a process, okay? And so finding leads and what to say to them and how to close them. How do they actually become a client? So the part that I want to talk about today is 3 different ways that you can bring leads into your business so that you can start thinking about, okay, how do I shift my strategy? Because sometimes you can be working one strategy and then you find out, this strategy is not working like it used to. For example, when the iOS update came out and ads started to change, right? Paid online advertising changed when the iOS update came out. And so if your only strategy for finding leads was the paid strategy, which I'm going to talk about, then you would have had to find a way to shift so that you can continue to thrive during that time. And so having different ways to bring leads into your business can be helpful when things start to shift, when things start to change. You'll already be ready to rock and roll because you're going to have different ways of bringing leads into your business. So the first way to bring leads into your business is we'll just use a paid strategy, okay? The paid strategy is you paying for advertising, is you putting money to put your product or your service or your event or your brand in front of people who would be interested in your brand, your offer, your product, or your services. Now, usually I do not recommend my clients start out with the paid strategy. And the reason why is because I've spent a lot of money on ads, and I've written I write my own ads. I've even written ads for clients. And you could actually, you have to have a nice budget for advertising if you want to do that. But the reason why for my clients I recommend that they start out with other strategies is because if you're just getting started in business, you may not have that kind of income or that revenue yet to start spending money on ads. Because if you have, if your business is small, your income level isn't where you want it to be yet, and you're spending money on ads, but you may not get a return on those ads. And that could be a big hit for your business. If you spend $5,000 on ads and you don't make any sales, which is very possible, by the way. But you can also spend $5,000 on ads and make 6 and 7 figures. So it's really with ads, it's really unpredictable. Sometimes you can't really predict how the outcome is going to be. And so what I'm saying is, if you spend $5,000 on ads and you don't get a return on that ad spend, then it could be a huge hit for your business. And so for my clients, I usually recommend that we get their messaging dialed in, we get their offer dialed in, and make sure that offer is selling before they even think about running ads. But there are other ways to run ads to where it's not such a huge financial hit. Some people do liquidating offers, self-liquidating offers, and that means that they have some type of offer or some type of low-end product, or it doesn't necessarily have to be low-end, but it usually starts with some type of low-end product, and that product pays for their ad spend. So it's not such a huge hit to the business. So there are other strategies, but those are more a little bit more advanced than what I'm talking about today, okay? So one way to bring leads into your business is paid advertising, okay? But usually, I do want to make this clear. You do not have to go out and spend money on ads in order to make your first 6 or even 7 figures, okay? The other strategies that I'm getting ready to talk to you about can be very helpful when it comes to getting those leads into your business before you even spend money on ads, okay? Now, so number one, the paid ad strategy. The second way you can bring leads into your business is by implementing a visibility strategy. And that is where you're very intentional, and you have a process and a very intentional strategy for how you're getting seen, how people are finding you. And visibility could be anywhere from you, guest writing, guest podcasting, showing up on other people's shows, live shows, Facebook shows, YouTube shows, Instagram shows, wherever people are doing shows at, you guesting with them could be a really great thing to do so that you can get more eyes on your brand. Because guess what happens? When people see you on someone else's platform, then they want to come and connect with you because they love your fantastic face. They love the stuff that you're talking about. They love your personality, and they're going to want to come and connect with you. That in turn grows your audience, okay? And so, so think about how you're getting visible, how you're connecting on a regular basis and collaborating with people so that you could get in front of their audience and bring some of those people back to your audience. Now, if you follow me for any amount of time, you always hear me say that I don't want to work with anybody who I'm not called to. I only want to work with the people who I'm called to, right? So of course, when you get on someone else's platform, some people are going to love you and some people won't, and that's totally okay, right? The people who you're called to are going to love you to pieces. They're going to come and follow you. And the people who are not won't. And you have to really be okay with that. So don't think necessarily because you get on someone's platform and they have 50,000 followers that you're going to get 50,000 followers, right? But the beautiful thing is the people who resonated with what you said, the people who felt connected to you, they're going to come and follow you. So you need to have some kind of visibility strategy that you're working on so that you can constantly grow your audience, okay? Now, the third way is an organic strategy, okay? An organic lead generation strategy. Now, visibility, when you're doing the stuff that I talked about, is organic, right? But I wanted to separate the two because visibility is organic because you're getting on someone else's audience and you don't pay for that. You shouldn't pay for that, okay? Of course, there are many opportunities to pay to get in front of other people's audience, but when it comes to podcasting and being on other people's shows, you should not pay for that. So in a sense, it is organic because you're not paying for it. So that is one organic lead strategy. However, the organic lead generation strategy that I'm talking about is something that you can do, your team can do every single day. And that is simply by talking to people, engaging with people. So you need that visibility strategy, but you also need an engagement strategy where you're engaging with your ideal clients on a regular basis, whether you're engaging with them in direct messages. One of my clients closes sales in the direct messages, and she has her organic strategy in place. She has her client journey in place, and she works that thing and she closes sales in the direct messages. Okay, so if you're engaging with your ideal clients on a regular basis, you're talking to them, you're asking them questions, you're giving them value. That goes a long way because those are leads that you have access to them via their messenger or via their inbox on social media. And so engaging with them builds that connection, it builds that trust, and it positions you to make the offer. Okay. And by the time you're ready to make that offer, let's say you get on a consultation call with someone who you've been talking to for 2 weeks. By the time you get on the call, they already feel like they know you, they trust you, and that makes selling easier. That makes their purchase easier when they feel like they know you, they like you, and they trust you. But it's very difficult to establish that if you're not engaging with people. Now, I know that some coaches, they have like this, I don't know what to call it, but I need a name for it. But they engage with people like they feed their audience with a long handle spoon. And what I mean by that is they'll go live and they'll talk and they'll do speaking engagements. But when it comes to like actually talking to people, they don't want to do that. They would rather just go live, put their information out there, or go to a speaking event and speak on stage and then go and do their thing. Now, I'm not saying everybody is like this because everybody is not. However, the engagement part, the engagement component to your lead generation strategy makes a huge difference because if you're going to coach somebody, you want them to feel like you're attentive to them. Like the example that I told you about earlier, when I reached out to someone and she was like, well, you can find all the information about what I do at this link right here. And I was like, okay, but that's fine. But it was a very like standoffish approach. If I wanted to hire her to coach me, that would be a turnoff for me because I'm like, wow, you don't even want to like talk. You want me to just go. It's like, hey, go to the link. Like we're in a conversation and you're sending me to look at a link. And so, but for me, if I'm hiring someone as a coach, I want that connection. I want to be able to talk to them. I want to be able to ask questions. So for me, I feel like, if I'm asking you a question, are you going to like send me off to like, something else? Now, I'm not saying that, that can't be done, but I'm saying initially that interaction, it felt very cold. And it is not something that it's not the type of personality that I would be looking for if I was going to hire a coach. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that, as a coach, you can't tell people to go use the tools because I invest a lot in my business education, a lot. And Google is my friend. I use Google, I use YouTube, I'm on Pinterest, I'm searching for information every single day. It is my nature. Now, I'm not saying if someone says, "Hey, go, go search for this." I had one coach who, she was not the hand holding type of coach. If she put the information out there, she expected you to go and do the research that you need to do, not sit there and try to like pull it all from her, right? So go, hey, do the research, do the work. Like we all have that entrepreneurial spirit. And so a part of that is digging and searching and doing the legwork that we need to do to get to that next level. Okay. Now I'm not talking about that because that's a different a different ball game. But I'm talking about just connecting with people on a human level, on a genuine level. If you want someone to hire you as a coach, think about that. Think about the type of coach you would want to hire. Be that kind of person that you would want to hire. Would you want to hire somebody who doesn't even want to talk to you? Probably not. I know I wouldn't, right? And so for me, like any of you who follow me, I'm in the DMs. I'm in the direct messages. I'm talking to you. I'm asking your questions. Y'all ask me questions all the time about different things, and I answer your question as long as it's within the scope of what I can send you back in a quick message. And so I talk to my people. Okay. I'm not afraid to talk to my people. I'm not afraid to have a conversation with my people. I actually enjoy talking to my people. Now, I'm an introvert, so I can sit here and message you all day long. But if you call my phone and I'm not expecting you, I might not answer. I might not answer it. But I will sit and message all day long. I love connecting with people. I love talking to people. I love knowing what you're working on, what you're doing. I love hearing about your wins. That's just a part of my style. Okay. So think about that. Think about how you can start implementing some of these things, right? And like I said, we talked about the paid strategy, we talked about the visibility strategy, and we talked about the organic lead generation strategy. And I did tell you that having a visibility strategy is organic because you're not paying for it. Well, not with money anyway. You're paying for it with your time, but putting forth that effort and that consistency in accomplishing that. And then having an engagement strategy where you are organically reaching out to people and connecting with people every single day and engaging with people. If someone makes a comment, engage with them. If someone asks a question, engage with them. And one of the things that I saw someone make a post the other day, and she said, "I struggled terribly in the direct messages, and it was so hard, and I lost so many clients." And I was just sitting there and I was thinking about this, and I'm like, well, the truth of the matter is that comes when you're struggling with connecting with people in the messenger. It could be because of one or two reasons. It could be number one, you're not sure exactly what to say and you're turning people off. Or it could be you're learning how to do this, you're learning how to get better at it. And unfortunately, not every conversation is going to go the way that you plan or the way that you intended to. And that's just a part of the process. You're going to learn. It's just like when my kids learn how to ride their bike. Like they're going to fall a couple of times, they're going to skin their knee a couple of times, but eventually they're going to get on that bike and it's going to be smooth sailing, right? It's the same way with any of these strategies. At first, a part of it is you're going to fall down sometimes, you're going to make some mistakes, you're going to make some people mad. Some people are going to block you, and that's perfectly okay as long as you're committed to learning, as long as you're committed to the growth of it. Okay. Turning people off and losing, that's just a part of the learning process, but it's nothing to fret over. It's just something just to accept. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to make mistakes, but I'm focusing on mastery. I'm focusing on getting better at this thing. And I understand that this is a part of the process. Okay. And that goes with with anything. It's a part of the process. It's part of the growth process. Okay. So remember, you don't need to start out with paid advertising. I get so many people, they want to jump into paid advertising, and that's perfectly okay. But for my clients, I do teach my clients. We did, like, for example, inside of my program, we did a whole boot camp on how to write Facebook ads. We even invited someone in to speak about Facebook ads and the changes that the iOS brought on Facebook advertising. And we also talk about messaging strategies, lead generation strategies via Messenger. My clients also know how to collaborate with people, how to pitch themselves for visibility opportunities. And so we understand how to navigate through all of those lead generation strategies. And it can be so helpful for you if you know how to work the different strategies for bringing leads into your business. For example, I know someone who She made her first 7 figures from just being on other people's podcasts. Before she even wrote an ad, spent the dollar on advertising, she's already at 7 figures just by being on other people's podcasts. Because going on other people's podcasts, that brings the visibility to you without you having to work so hard to go and find people. Go and find your people. So there's different strategies when it comes to generating that leads. You can do things to where the leads are coming to you, they're finding you. And then on the flip side, you can do things where you actually take the initiative and go find them. But they all work, and if you're working all three of those, eventually you're not going to have any problems finding leads. As a matter of fact, you get to the point where you've got too many leads and you can't even serve them all. And so think about some of those things that you can implement in your business immediately if you're not doing them. Not necessarily, like I said, don't rush into paid advertising if you don't need it yet. You can make 6 and 7 figures without spending a dime on advertising, as long as you're working the strategies. It does take consistency and it takes some resilience because you're going to make mistakes. But as long as you're ready and willing to be consistent, and as long as you're willing to make those mistakes, you're going to be just fine. When you go into it with the mindset like, yeah, I know, I already know I'm going to make mistakes, but I'm committed to mastery. I'm committed to getting better at this thing. You're going to do amazing. So if you're interested in implementing some of this stuff that I talked about, send me a direct message. If you're watching me on YouTube, you can just email me at info@shantaprince.com. If you're watching me on LinkedIn or on Facebook, you can just send me a direct message and let's talk about the strategies that you're using to find leads. And if you need some ideas, we can talk about that as well. So I just told you that I talk to my people and I'm in Messenger with my people on a regular basis. So don't hesitate to send me a message if you have any questions or if you want to chat about any of the strategies that I just talked about. All right. Well, I will see you back again next Thursday at 12 o'clock. So it's going to be the same time and the same place, and we'll talk all things branding and business for coaches. Have a great weekend. Have a great day, and I'll be seeing you again soon.